So a weevil is a pest that eats grains. And for, boarding school, they're not going to sit there and pick out all the weevils for you so that you can eat like a delicious meal without them. I remember the weevils used to float. They used to be doing backstrokes as the cook is serving your food. You'd be sitting there, picking them out of your food. And then they'll be like, it's extra protein. Welcome to Cooking with Nanu. Today we're going to be making githeri. Githeri is a dish that's very popular in Kenya and a lot of other African countries like Tanzania, Cameroon, and Nigeria. So the crazy thing about githeri was that it was very balanced. The corn alone was not efficient enough to give enough nutrition. The beans alone did not do the same. But combining the two of them will give you a perfect balanced meal. And that's what they used to do for us in boarding school. You can imagine if we just stuck with the corn, would end up having Kwashiorkor, which is a protein deficiency. So they knew to put them together to keep us healthy. But it was very basic, very bland. And every time you'd be eating, you'd be thinking about maybe if, it had like some carrots in there, some onions, maybe it would taste better. And over the years, I've just found a way to customize and add all the things that I felt were lacking in it. And I'm going to be sharing that with you today. For the ingredients we have oil, ginger, salt, garlic, Githeri Masala, paprika, cumin, curry powder, cilantro, carrots, onions, tomatoes, water, potatoes, corn, and beans. All right, let's start cooking. I always like to make sure that my pot is a little bit warm or it's warmed up before I put any ingredients. So now it's nice and ready, and I'm gonna place the first ingredient, oil. I'll let that heat up before I put the onion. So the onions go in. What I like to do is once I get the oil distributed really nicely around the onions, I add my ginger and garlic at this point. I don't even wait. You can see the onions are changing the color and they're getting softer. At this point, I'm gonna put some salt. Give the salt a head start. I really like these pots because they distribute the heat really well, so your food cooks. I feel like it cooks even better. And next, I'm gonna add the tomatoes. You spread them all in there. I'm gonna let this cook a little bit. Just continue stirring. I enjoy just looking at the colors, Beautiful. Make sure you kind of get all the onions and tomatoes from the sides. Of course, this was never in the boarding school recipes. It was just like boiled corn and beans. And then they'll just throw like some kind of fat over it when it's ready, and it will just melt as it's served. Horrible. So this is going to be really delicious. Wipes out all those bad memories. So at this point, I'm going to add the other spices. Once the spices are in here, you have to move a little quickly because the spices can stick at the bottom. So you have to just keep stirring. And what I like to do now is put the potatoes. I always like my potatoes in water. That way they don't, darken. They get like stained. So you can see they end up just being nice and still white. If you leave them dry, then they just kind of get dehydrated. That's why I leave them in here. And then just stir this. So what I'm going to do is add the water, and I'm going to cover it just to let the potatoes cook a little bit. So So just mix it up. I'm gonna let it cook for 10 minutes. So I'm gonna get everything all mixed up really well. And then create. All right, it's time to check on the potatoes here. Oh yeah, looks good. Nice, look at that. I like to test the potatoes with a fork. Yep, able to go in. And each kind of potato cooks differently. So it's important to kind of just keep checking because some of them cook faster, others, a little slower. I'm gonna put the carrots in. And depending on how you like your carrots, I like mine crunchy. So I'm not gonna cook them for so long, probably a couple minutes. Cover it. Smells so good. We're almost at the finish line. The corn is cooked. The beans are boiled. I pre-boiled them, which makes everything cook faster. So it's just a matter of getting those in there, stirring a little bit, let all the spices kind of get in, and we'll be done. All right, so I'm gonna check on the carrots. You can tell by the color of the carrots that they're cooking. They get like a more orange color to them. Now it's time for the corn. And just mix it. We're gonna add our protein, the beans here. And then you just kind of mix everything. You're not carefully do this. The beans are already cooked. You don't want to tamper with it too much so you don't mush them. You're gonna cover this for a little bit. Let all those spices infuse. I'm gonna make sure you mix it really well though. All right, let me cover it. Give it a few minutes, about 3 minutes. Almost time to start eating here. Here we go. Oh yeah, it's looking good. Last thing that goes in here before we turn it off is the cilantro. So here we go. Just kind of get it in there. I like a lot of it. You can, as you see, and just mix it. Gonna mix it really nicely. We're done cooking. Now it's time to enjoy the githeri. I like to pair it with avocado. It makes the perfect vegetarian dish. So I'm gonna go ahead here and serve some githeri on my plate. Make sure I have a potato or potatoes. And always feel free to tweak your recipes, add things that you like more. Sometimes I even make this with meat. So I'll kind of cook the meat first and then add all the other ingredients as we go. But it's that time. So I usually get a little bit of the avocado. Oh, yummy. So delicious. I hope you guys can try it. Thank you for watching Cooking with Nanu.